thank you everyone for tuning in to today's show. Don't forget to hit subscribe button there and also click on the notification bell for future episodes, and be sure to like and share this video. Today's guest is Tony Mantz, or also known as Tony Jack the Bear Mantz. Tony has been in the music industry for over 3 decades. Mastering music is what he does and the trade that he plies. He basically runs his own mastering company or mastering studio called Deluxe Mastering. As well as that, Tony is the host of the podcast Mastering Music, Mastering Life. As well as that, he's a keynote speaker in mental health. But without further ado, thank you very much for coming on to the show today, Tony.
Buddy, it's been a pleasure, and thank you for inviting me. It took us long enough, didn't it?
Yeah,
it took us long enough, but here we are. Here we are.
Yeah, we're finally there, ready to smash out this
Actually,
interview.
I'm going to take the headphones off because they just give me the shit. Anyway, we're all good. All good, man.
Oh, cool. Good. So we get back into it.
It took us a while, but listen, don't feel so bad about this, because I've been chasing a guy for my podcast. It seems like it's almost been 2 years now, right? And it's not because there's no funny buggers going on. It's the guy's just so crazy busy, and he's on the other side of the planet and so on. So we took how long? Couple of months?
Yeah, a couple of months.
A couple of months. A few false starts, but so don't feel so bad, man. You're gonna have some guests that you really want to have on. You just have to persist with them, you know. But anyway, I'm glad we're here, and I appreciate the invitation on your podcast, man. Thank you.
No problem. The pleasure is all mine. I understand. Yeah, doing this, you will get some challenges and some obstacles, but what's life without any challenges or obstacles? Correct.
Well, it's I think they're required. If we're going to grow, we need to be able to go through some level of pain, some level of resistance. It's like no one's going to build bigger muscles in the gym if they keep lifting the same weight over and over and over. At some point, you've got to stack the bar. So, and that's the same with life. And I think it's the ones who can manage the uncomfortable states in the best way possible, you know.
Yeah.
So it's the ones who can build that resilience to keep, but also to be able to see those situations as opportunities rather than, oh, life has got it in for me, life's unfair, fucking all bad shit happens to me. Bad shit happens to everyone. It's all a matter of how you frame it and then how you decide to process it and respond as opposed to react, because a lot of people tend to just react. Oh, this is bad. Oh, is it? Well, let's look at it a bit deeper. Maybe there's an opportunity here. Maybe something here of worth. Maybe life's trying to tell you something. But again, until we work to a level of awareness where we can see these things, we're never going to be able to fully appreciate obstacles as actually. My mentor, Peter Sage, gave a really good description of this, Neil. He said that look at challenges as the wrapping paper to a gift that is yet to present itself.
Oh wow!
And I really like the way he coined that. You'll probably find me quoting Peter quite a lot in this podcast. So
that's all right.
Yeah.
No, so
you know, I'm a guy that does a lot of mentoring, but I also have mentors myself, and it's a lot of the teachings of my mentors that have become the pastiche of what I am today. So, yeah.
So what's your thoughts on mentorship? How important is it for people?
Well, it certainly was huge in my development, and still today continues to be a very important part of life. You know, the reason I do what I do today is because as a youngster who started out in music, I was fortunate enough to come across wonderful people who mentored me. They didn't know me. They owed me nothing. I was just a kid. And yet they were prepared to take me under their wing and show me stuff about the business and life, and it always remained with me. And so I remember I made a promise to myself as a 19-year-old that if I ever got to a point where I created my own studio and I became, fully, a full-time mastering engineer and sort of reached the kind of point where these guys are at, that I would I would pay it forward, I'd do the same, because I felt that was a big part of what made these people so great. Not just the fact that they were technically brilliant and they had these great discographies, but they were really amazing, humble, very giving people, and it was never lost on me.
Oh, wow. You got a really big heart there.
Oh, well, man, I think we all do. Everyone's got a big heart, and I thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, I do. But I think that we all do. And it's just a matter of getting access to that, connecting to that. When you can really connect to that part of you, then you're able to be more loving, more giving, more compassionate, more of a contributor to the world, et cetera, et cetera. But, mentoring is a really interesting topic, because I think it's, don't know about misunderstood, but it's such a broad, it covers such a broad range. Mentoring is, I think people maybe see mentoring as someone who's with you all the time, constantly, and that certainly is mentoring. But I mentor a lot of people, and some of the people who I would categorize as, let's just call them my mentees, for lack of a better word, people that you call up. In the same way, people that I mentor, I'm not speaking to on a week-to-week basis. It could be 2-3 times a year. Something comes up for me, I'm not entirely sure about it, or I just want to get some clarification or whatnot. And so, it can be someone that, and look, mentors don't even have to be people that you know. I mean, for example, again, Peter Sage coming in again. One of his mentors, he puts down Yoda from Star Wars.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And now he's a fictional character that you're never going to meet, but again, he has a certain wisdom. There's certain things that he would say that that are profound and are true. And so as a result, I can understand how he would say that. And so for anyone who's watching and listening, you don't have to have someone, you don't even have to pay someone on a week-to-week or month-to-month. You can seek people online, people that you admire, that you respect, that you see qualities in them that you would like to have. And I'll tell you now, if you do see that in other people, trust me, you've got them within you. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to identify with them. And just follow what And the other thing too, I'd say about mentoring is that while you would respect your mentors and what they have to say, always test drive everything for yourself. Don't just take a carte blanche. Just because something works for someone doesn't mean it'll automatically work for you.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to question what you're told, or test it out for yourself. I encourage everyone. Everything I share with you is based on my own subjective experience of reality and what worked for me. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you in exactly the same way, but I'm going to offer something for consideration for them to go and try should they be so inclined. So
what you're saying is it's okay to basically pick people that you idolize for the person they are and sort of aspire.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but I will. Don't idolize anyone.
Okay. But
we hang on before. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's really important I get this across, right? We live in a culture where people are elevated to these statuses, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't respect people for who they are and their achievements, but we should never ever put ourselves beneath them. Not the whole idea of looking up to someone is it's like automatically puts you in a position when you're lower than. No one's lower than anyone. The fact that someone may have achieved more doesn't make them any better. Or you're with me. So respect it, admire it, but don't ever allow it to be something that you put yourself way under, because everyone's capable of achieving all kinds of great things. So I'm sorry to interrupt your question there, man, but it's just important that I get that across, because a lot of people. And I was the same for many, many years. So I'm not saying that I know better than anyone else. But as soon as I got it through my thick head that, hey, don't put people on a pedestal, respect them, admire them, but understand that you're made of the same stuff and you can do the same thing. So again, I apologise, man. I'll let you get back to the question you wanted to ask me.
Well, that's all right. So, like, you say don't idolise, but you see people that you aspire to be like, or is it that you model yourself around their values, or what do you take from these people that you can't really talk to, or you see in the TV, like you said with your friend Yoda?
Yeah, well, I think when we're all a reflection of each other.
Yeah.
And that is whether it's we see the good stuff or the stuff we don't like. It's all basically a reflection on us. And so I think we all just pick up on things with people. You know, you run into something and you go, oh, wow, he's really cool, or that what he said was really amazing. You just connect on a certain level. So if you can identify something in someone, whether it is you already identify it in yourself or whether it's something that you aspire to be like, you've got it in you. It's obvious that it's there. So it's a matter of you. It's a matter of you taking the ownership of that. In the same way that one thing we don't do or tend to avoid is when we see people we don't like, rather than go, well, what is it about? It's not so much what is it about them as much as what is it that they're triggering in us. What are the disowned parts of us that we're either avoiding, or we don't want to come to peace with, or we don't want to. And so we tend to sort of shove that stuff away. So the same thing.
Pardon, keep going.
No, it's the same thing with the positive aspects, you know. But we tend to we don't really want to look at the darker stuff, if you will. You know, we tend to be looking at, but even if people can identify it, they just don't take the ownership. They don't believe that I am that person too, and I can be that person. You know, I have those traits already. And to be able to connect with those traits within themselves.
So we've got the ability basically to, pick up some little nuggets from different people around, and we have it in ourselves to implement it in our life. And it's up to us as people whether we want to or whether we shrug it to the side, which is unfortunately the sad thing that maybe a lot of people do. But it's important that we all know that we have it within us to apply those things.
Oh, without question. The thing is that most people don't have the belief that they do because they feel less than. It's the greatest fear of people is that I'm not enough, not good enough, not smart enough, not intelligent enough, not resourceful enough, not whatever enough, you know? Yeah. And so people, are programmed to feel that way. And the world doesn't really do you a lot of favors by, reminding you marketing. What's marketing about? It's about you need this and you need that and you need some of that because without this or without that or without this car, without this aftershave, or if you don't travel here, if you don't drive this car, whatever, then you're not one of the cool kids, or you're not man enough, or you're not woman enough, or you just, again, it's working on that vulnerability. Yeah. When, at the end of the day, think about it. Why do people are always externally looking to buy shit? Why? Because when you boil it down, it comes down to this, Neil. It's about a feeling, because I feel good. Yeah. When we have access already to the feel good already, we don't need to have. It's great to have. I'm not saying don't have it, but it's when you rely on all that stuff to feel good. Yeah. Have that stuff's a nice embellishment, but feel good now. That's a choice we have to be able to tap into that and already start feeling good. Yeah.
So it's important to first feel good within ourselves rather than looking for external sources to make ourselves feel good, like you say, buying those nice items, buying that Gucci bag for status. It's important that we look within ourselves first.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, look, even if you were to buy these things, at some point people, they buy it and then what happens? Oh, I'm over, I'm done now. And then there's something else. And so where's enough? Where's it end? Why is it that, people that are incredibly rich still feel like, well, shit, I need an extra 2 million, 5 million, 10 million, just in case I lose the other million I have. It's just an ongoing thing that just never ends, man. It never ends. So at some point you got to just, break the chain and understand that it's no amount of external stuff or validation is ever going to fill the perceived void that you have within yourself. So you got to learn to fill that with your own self-love and self-forgiveness and self-compassion and, just self-acceptance. I think when I talk about loving yourself to people, sometimes they cringe a bit, and I guess that tells me more about them than anything else. But when I talk about the self-love, Neil, I'm saying self-acceptance, just being okay in your own skin knowing who you are, accepting all aspects of who you are, being in touch with all aspects of who you are, and also not relying on external anything, whether it's material things or people's validation or love or acceptance, in order for you to feel good about you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's taken me a long ass, trust me, mate, a long ass time to get to this point. Over 50 years. I'm not lying. I'm being very, very honest. So there's hope for everyone out there to get there.
Yeah. No, well, I saw a meme somewhere the other day where the thing about life is that no matter how old you are, no matter how many times you fail, you can still succeed at life. You just got to basically try and apply yourself. Is that right?
Well, and again, what's failure? Let's look at failure. We see failure as a negative thing, where failure is nothing more than feedback telling you how not to do something. That's all, how not to do it. So you just dust off and try again. And so failure is, if you will, just stepping stones. An opportunities for you to get on track. If you're not failing at life, if you're not getting setbacks in life, then you're obviously not trying hard enough. So again, if we can learn not to take these things personally and attribute our self-worth to it. I mean, a lot of people who fail at things quite often, and myself included, I've been in that boat for a long, long time too, Neil. So again, I want to stress that a lot of the stuff that I'm sharing with you today is not coming from someone who's been all-knowing and all-wise for all his life. I mean, a lot of the stuff really started to sink in for me after 50 odd years of being around. But when it comes to the whole notion of failing, again, just look at it as feedback from life, an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to grow, and not as the universe's way. It's a conspiracy out there to fuck your day.
Yeah, I get that. So, is there any, how can I say, any age bracket, or are you never too old to have a mentor?
I know you're never too old. We're everything here is. I mean, why are we here, Neil? Have you ever asked yourself, why are we here on the planet?
Yeah, I have. I look at it as we were created to enjoy life. Or I always say life's meant to be enjoyed, not endured. So we're supposed to take the fruits of what life has to offer and live a fruitful life. And that not only means about having a wealth or success, but creating memories with loved ones and stuff like that. Hence the Bible says, be fruitful and multiply, so we can build a family and enjoy those good times that life has to offer rather than just chasing money.
Yeah, I think that's great. I've got to a point now where what sits well with me is that we're really here just to have an experience, a human experience. And so that's why, my currency now is about experiences and good memories, because when I'm on my deathbed, or, when I get towards the end of my life, what I'm going to be having and what I'll take with me, I hope anyway, those memories and experiences and my connections and my relationships and my loved ones and things like that. But no, you can never be too old, man. You can never be too old for this sort of stuff, and it's never too late to start. I consider myself a late bloomer. I'm a very proud member of the Late Bloomers Society. And so I don't feel bad about the fact that, why did it take me so long to get this? Why did it take me so long to finally get that? I feel grateful that, thank fuck I've arrived.
Yeah.
Because some people will never get it. What's really interesting, Neil, and again, this is, Peter Sage brought this to my attention, and it's true, where he says, your physical maturity is one thing, okay? You're going to age. It takes no work. You're going to age. Sure, you can do things to help mitigate it somewhat, but you're going to age regardless. You can just lie there and do nothing. You're going to age. Whereas your emotional maturity, right? That's a choice. That takes work. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is why, have you noticed? I'm sure you have yourself. You've met people in your life who are fairly young, but they exemplify this maturity that makes you go, fuck, where they come out with all this shit? They're so incredibly mature, so wise. And then you come across other people who you think later in life and you just wonder, wow, what happened to them? You know? And so just because you physically age, it doesn't mean that your emotional maturity is going to stay in parity with that.
Yeah.
You know? One takes no work, you know, and it's done for you. The other one requires you to work at it and make conscious decisions about it.
Yeah. It's
never too late.
I always thought that, you know, how can I say, you should always try to feel young. You should not try to hold yourself back. But, you know, through life you have experiences and you learn from those and you bring them forward. And then at the same time you try to share those experiences with people so they don't make the same mistakes that you do, right?
Yeah. And you know what else too, Neil? I'd also invite you to have a think about this, which is nobody should or shouldn't do anything. You know, there's no obligations as such. But look, I do agree with what you're saying. You know, I really do.
Yeah. So how can I say? So throughout life, you should always have someone there, basically, not so much to hold your hand, but to be able to confide within. Whether when you're down or whether you're looking to make a big decision, that should have someone there that you can connect with to help you along the way, basically, someone that you can trust. So, you have a bit of guidance, yeah?
I think it's great. And this is where, you know, it's important about your peer group. Who are the people you have in your inner circle, the five or, you know, so people that you contact with the most and share and, you know, share more of your life with. And, you know, a lot of us don't actually sit down and really think about who are our peers, who are the people that we hang out with, who are the people that we are contributing towards and getting anything back from. And quite often we just think in terms of, well, if I've known someone for a long time, then they're someone close. And I was involved in quite a lot of toxic friendships with people that I hung on to because I thought, well, I've known this guy for 9 years. He knows a lot of my secrets. You know, it's the devil you know. When deep down I knew it wasn't healthy for me. But the longer we stay in these friendships, the harder it is for people because people are afraid of being alone. People are afraid of uncertainty. People are afraid of, you know. So getting back to try and answer your question about having someone there as a confidant to trust, yes, I think it's important and that we have people that we know have our best interest at heart, that'll call us out on our bullshit, that just won't be there to be the yes man of life. But even deeper than that, Neil, I would say that we need to learn how to trust ourselves, how to tap into our own intuition, how to tap into our own heart. Because there's a saying, and I really like this one, which is advice is confirmation to the answer you already know, but deep down inside just want accept.
Yeah, I get that.
And how many of us in life have had situations where we look back on with hindsight and go, we made a decision that it didn't, you know, our head got in the way or we weren't quite sure. And then we go, fuck, I knew I shouldn't have done that. I knew I shouldn't have lent the money or what have you, you know, because deep down we kind of knew it, but we didn't want to accept it because it was too hard to swallow. Yeah. And so we suffer the consequences as a result.
Yeah. So, how important is it to basically just, you know, trust your gut, you know, rather than not trusting your gut and, you know.
It's everything. It's the most important thing. It's like anything else, it's a skill, Neil. It's a lot of us don't tune into it. We just don't tune into it because sometimes deep down we're getting, you see, here's the thing, man. It's all about, what you have to understand is when we're trying to get good at this is that your intuition is not about reason and rationale. That's your ego and your mind. Yeah. Right? When you start hearing voices in that in your head, you know you're at. It's always a feeling and it's binary. It either feels right or it doesn't feel right. Yeah. And it's 100% on. It's not 99% on. It's either 100% on, and it's a knowing. It's just something that you inherently know within yourself. And when you can learn to tap into that, and like with any skill, Neil, it takes practice.
Yeah.
You're going to fuck it up a few times, but, you just got to just keep chipping away, and sometimes you'll get it, and you won't always get it right, but that's okay. You just got to keep trusting, and eventually you'll find yourself in situations where you've got this internal guidance system that will never fucking fail you.
Yeah.
Never fail you. Even if it takes you to a seemingly bad situation, it may not be great at the time, but in the long-term game of life, you may have to go somewhere that's not that great to get to a better place. At the time, it may not seem logical. You see, we think of life in straight lines, a linear experience. It's not. There's nothing straight in nature. Nothing.
Yeah,
Rivers, coastlines, creeks, there's nothing man-made in nature that's straight. And so we're so into our left side of our brain, which is the logic, the rationale. It's all got to add up. It's all got to make sense. It's all got to be justified, etc., etc. We're so swarmed in that we don't allow ourselves to go into that non-linear side, because life is a non-linear experience. It doesn't always go down. It doesn't always match up to logic, and it doesn't always have to add up. So that's why it's about trusting in the process and trusting that your gut is going to be your GPS that's going to guide you on the river of life, even if at the time it may seem like it doesn't quite make sense. Again, just trust in the process. Just trust in the process.
So, you've been in the music industry for over 3 decades, and you would have come across a lot of cool kids along the way. How hard was it not to follow them? Did you ever get sucked into that world of doing the cool stuff? And was it hard?
Yeah. I got caught up with it for the vast majority of the time. I was completely sucked into the vortex. Absolutely. I bought right into it, man, with the drugs and the partying and with the wanting to be loved and look at me and work with me and people please. And, oh, man, I went for that shit hook, line, and fucking sinker. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure, man. I swam in that for decades. I've only recently just been enjoying the last, I don't know, just say 5, 7, 8 years, whatever, where I've really been starting to really enjoy the fruits of being free of that. And I'm still working through it, man. I'm constantly working through it.
Was it easy to pull yourself out of it when you first come to the self-realization that, hey, this is not the way I want to be going? Was it hard to pull out of it?
Very. It's always hard. I mean, that's every challenge. But having said that, I think you also make it as hard on yourself as you make it. We are our best ally and worst enemy all at once. So, yes, things are hard. Things are probably meant to be hard for a reason, but I think we also potentially can make it harder on ourselves needlessly. And that's something that I did for a long, long-ass time. And I'm learning to be better at being able to take those situations and, be able to navigate them with less anxiety and less stress and a deeper understanding that this right now is not a reflection on me. It's not my fault per se. It's not life out to get me. It's life is showing me something that I need to see or need to understand or I need to master until I can move up to the next level, So that's my take on that.
So how did you pull yourself out of it? What were some of the initial things that you did?
Well, man, it's still a process of pulling myself out of it, I guess. I guess the best way to imagine is being in a deep hole. The first thing is asking for help. It's recognizing that you're just stuck. And you're trying to find something on your own for however long. So basically humbling yourself and just saying, okay, all right, you know what? I fucked up, or I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, or I can't do this any further on my own. And having enough humility to say, look, I need help, whether in whatever area of that life that may be. So for me, it was just about recognizing that and just doing work with varying therapists and mentors over the years, and slowly but surely, just doing the work. It's just doing the work, man. It's as simple as that. And I don't feel I'm any more special than anybody else, but really it just comes down to putting your hand up, recognizing that you're not in a good place or you need help, having the humility to ask, and then doing the work. Actually being prepared to go through the resistance and the change and all that stuff that you've got to go through, which are the non-negotiable parts of getting to a better place.
So did you reach out for professional help?
Oh man, I reckon I've been in some kind of therapy most of my life ever since I was a teenager. So psychiatrists, psychologists, psychotherapists, all different kinds of life coaches, all manner of different methodologies. Even going down crazy esoteric parts of sound healers and fucking soothsayers and all just honestly, man, the all kinds of weird and wonderful people that I've come across, in mainstream and alternative. But what I found interesting though, Neil, is that when we go through a healing process or transformation process, is that we can only take on as much as we're prepared to accept and take on ourselves. What we're prepared to receive. Until we're open to receiving this or feeling the self-worth of, you know what, I'm worthy of a happy life. I'm worthy of this. I'm worthy of that. I have, it's my birthright to be happy and to experience these states. No amount of people coming at you, no matter how well intended it is ever going to really fully get through until you're prepared and ready to accept what's coming and to do the work. But no, you already have self-worth. That there was nothing really wrong with you to begin with. You're perfectly fine as you are, and you're not all the things that you were told growing up, or what society tells you, or what other people may think of you.
Okay, so you might have touched on a bit of this through what you've shared with me so far, but what do you need in the mindset? What are the ingredients you need to be serious and focused on to make that change? Like, what is there a magic formula?
I wouldn't say a magic formula per se, but first of all, it takes you being very clear on your values. A lot of us don't. Peter says that when your values are clear, decisions are easy. And it makes a lot of sense because, if your value is family and you set aside time for your family, but, someone comes along and says, hey, do you want to go out and play some pool? Or something comes up that to distract you. When you're not clear about that, people kind of sit and go, But if you're steadfast and your value is, family, it's about family and I put family above anything else, then there's going to be no fucking about, is there?
Yeah.
It's clear, it's easy because you're clear. And a lot of us are not clear on our values. We have values, we all have values, but in terms of what we prioritize, and that can change at different points in life. Sitting down and working out your values is something that we don't like with peer group. How many people actually sit down and consciously go, well, what do I really value? What do I prioritize? Well, we know, as I said, as a collective of different ideas and values and whatnot, but in terms of actually putting them in some kind of order so that we're clear on that, I think a lot of us don't. And this is why this is why I experienced for most of my life a lot of conflict in making decisions on things. Now my values are clearer. I'm still working towards. I have, like right now, I think at this point in my life, I'm valuing things like connection and relationships more than anything. So, and my health, rather than other things. And I know this because when opportunity comes up for me to do something that's going to help me build a connection or build a new memory or build a new experience, those sort of things I jump at.
Yeah.
Something else comes up. When I know that's what I'm doing here, I was like, yep, that can wait. That can wait because now this is what takes precedence over the other stuff, and the other stuff I'll get to if and or when I get to it.
Have you found routine makes a big change or helps you make a big change?
I think routine is good to have. Having said that, I'm not I mean, a lot of people talk about their morning routine and they have this certain thing which sets them up for the day, and I understand that. I don't have a morning routine per se. There every day I religiously or very stringently follow certain things, but there are some things that I still like to do in the morning. I like to breathe, I like to drink water. I like to go through some form of gratitude, if not every day, every other day, but just think about being thankful for what I have and reflecting on what I have, and it's not just the thinking. Gratitude is a really interesting one, because it gets spoken about so much, and even myself, I always understood gratitude on a surface level. Just tell yourself what you're grateful for, write the shit down, and that's all good. But where gratitude really starts to work in your life is when you tap into that, and it's an emotion.
Yeah.
So when you, and there are times now where I've cried from happiness because of what I have, because so much of what I have today, once upon a time, I just used to wish it would happen. It was just a thought. It was like, oh wow, how fucking cool would it be if I had this or this or this? And quite often we get to these things and it's easy to take for granted, but it's so important that we go through that. So getting back to your routine question, I like to be a bit flexible with things. I like to have some level of structure, but I like to be flexible enough to allow for other things to be able to come in and out of life. But I think certainly in the morning, fresh air, sunshine, hydration, and gratitude.
Yeah.
At a minimum, when I get to meditate, I'll meditate. But again, if I get up in the day and I don't do all those things, I only do part of those things, it's not going to disrupt me from the day I'm going to have. Although I do know that, the more consistent I can be with that, I do have better days. There's no doubt about that, than the days where I hardly do any of those things, or just one or two of those things.
Yeah, because it's actually quite funny you're talking about gratitude, because I've talking to another guest before, and gratitude, when you have real gratitude for what's going on around you, it changes your mood, and once you have a different mood or an outlook on life, things become a lot easier to do, or life becomes easier to move forward. Would you agree?
Absolutely. It takes you up on a higher frequency. And so it allows you to operate at a level of, where, again, Peter talks about these 4 levels of consciousness where, as you go up through the vibration, you get into the higher level. And one of those levels is, people call it the flow state, or, Peter would talk about calling where life works through you. See, most people in the world are in by me mode. Life is, or to me. Life is happening to me. Yeah. They're victims. They're at the whim of everything else out there except for their own, sense of responsibility.
Yeah.
And then you got people who come out of that, who take responsibility and start getting into the achiever mode, which is the life is happening by me. I'm going to grind. I'm going to fucking work. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I'm just going to, and that's great. And a lot you need that. You need some drive to get off your ass and to do things. But if you continually stay there, it becomes very tiresome because anything that requires grinding requires friction. It's so when you get to that state of that gratitude state, you operate at a high frequency, and then life starts becoming a bit more fun. It seems a bit more effortless because you're dancing with it. You're not trying to fight it. You're following the flow. You're trusting in the current. So when we're in a state of gratitude and we're feeling gratitude, we're going to raise ourselves up to that level of vibration and frequency that's going to allow us to tap into more of those coincidences, serendipitous moments, crazy situations, that you see other people experience, but you have to wonder why, because they're operating at a higher level of consciousness and frequency, which allows them to attract these opportunities and these situations and these, great things that come their way.
Okay. So in your keynote speaking, is this some of the stuff you talk about?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of time it varies on a particular topic, but I do tend to touch on it. I think it's important because a lot of motivational speakers out there they tend to run through a very formulaic thing, and a lot of them don't really get down into the roots of the nitty gritty of what is it that got us here. Help explain why it is the way you are, that you're not have to be that way. There's nothing wrong with you, and how to understand that and undo that, as the foundation. It's all based on this false premise that you're fucked up. This is why you need this book. This is why you need this course. This is why you need this webinar, because there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. You're fucked up somehow. You're lacking somehow. You're perpetuating that whole bullshit myth that you're not enough. So, it's one of the things I really can't stand as part of the personal development industry. But when I ever do a talk, sometimes it's to talk to students about mastering what I do. But in that talk, I make sure I give them a little bit of a insight into, as they move forward to make a career in music, here are some of the things to take into consideration. Here are some of the things to consider. When they leave the talk, other than just what I'm paid. You sign up and get paid to do a certain talk on a topic, but I like to weave these kind of things in there because I think they're relevant, and I think that they underpin all the other stuff. It's like building. It's like a building, man. Yeah. The more solid the foundation, the more floors you can build on it.
Oh, okay. So just stacking on top of each other, basically knowledge, really. So you can take yourself to that next level.
Yeah, and it's and knowledge is great, but knowledge means nothing until it becomes wisdom, until it becomes applied. We have so many people that are so smart. I've only read 17 books in my entire life. Yeah. Okay? People think I'm some fucking great, smart genius, whatever. I'm fucking smart, but I'm not necessarily academically book smart. Okay. Yeah. And something that was I held on to, which I've let go of all that now, but I really did see a lot of my self-worth in how can I be smart if I didn't read a million books in the library like everyone else. But a lot of people are very intelligent and take on a lot of information, but how many of them actually apply that?
Yeah.
Or consistently, let alone at all. And people buy stuff and they file it away, or they get to it later, and most of the time it's forgotten. They say that 48 hours after you see something or read something or learn something for the first time, 80% of it is lost after 48 hours. Yeah. So this is why you got to repeat, rinse and repeat, to get to these habits, man, because it's all about changing habits.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, I think it comes down to really, like, people will buy those books, they'll achieve that good feeling after a day or two, or not even that feeling's gone, and they may only read a couple of pages in that book, and they really don't apply themselves, because you've really got to push yourself, to basically learn what's in that book. You sort of got to grind, but not grind. Well, you got to enjoy what you're doing.
A little grinding isn't a bad thing. As I said, it's a good way to get out of first gear, get yourself started, and it's just you don't want to stay in that mode. But this is where your peers are important, Neil. This is where if you've got people around you that are on a similar path, who are also wanting to learn, who are wanting to grow, evolve, contribute, do something positive in the world, you're going to be more like them. So you're going to do more of the activities that they do. You're going to read more of the books they read. You'll be keeping each other more accountable because you're all, you're all basically feeding off each other energetically. Yeah. And that's going to happen whether the vibe goes up or the vibe goes down. So, again, I know we're coming back to this all the time, but I can't stress it enough. Your peer group, the people in your life are everything. When you got really good, healthy peer group, I dare to say you're almost halfway there. Yeah, they won't do it. They can't do the work for you. They won't do the work for you. In fact, if you're not working like they are, you won't be in that peer group very long. But at least if you're in that similar group of people who are of a like mindset, who are on the same page, who've got similar values, who it's going to rub off on you, man. Same way if you're going to be around a whole bunch of meth addicts.
Yeah.
You hang around long enough, man, guess what? You're going to be fucking on that pipe before you know it.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying there. It's almost like you are who you hang out with type of thing.
Oh, you are totally. That Jim Rohn thing. You know, you are the collective of the five people. There's a lot of truth in it, and this is why it's important that we take stock and take the time and be discerning about who we're going to have in our life, within our close orbit. It's vital.
So, for people that don't have that connection with people, is there any like support groups or anything like that out there where people can go and connect with other people that have that like-minded mindset?
Oh, absolutely, man. This is the greatest time to be alive. We've got this thing called the internet. And the internet has, countless outlets and opportunities and places for people. Sure, there's probably a lot of noise out there as well. So you're going to have to kind of pick through and find the place that resonates with you. But, for someone who may be watching or listening to this and they're in a remote part of the world, where am I going to go? I don't have a local chapter of my peer group, or I'm in a remote part of the world. The internet opens up, it's a Pandora's box, and you have got so much choice. Again, this just comes down to your willingness to want to sit through it and just kind of take your time to look at different forums and groups and websites and, clubs and organizations and whatnot. There's no shortage of them. There's absolutely no shortage of them.
Okay. Look, I'm going to wrap it up here, but what I just wanted to ask you before we go, what are some of your tips for people to keep their mental health up, especially with this coronavirus or COVID going on around, especially with us both being in Melbourne, we're in the second lockdown. What are some of your tips for people out there just so they don't get demotivated or go down in the poop?
The first thing people got to understand about COVID or any disease or virus out there is that your best defense from that is a healthy immune system.
Yeah.
Right? And a healthy immune system comes from eating well, less of the processed shit as possible. So try and eat as much fresh fruit, veggies, meat, if so long as it's preferably organic, something out of the ground, something that was made by a plant, not in a plant. Hydration, water, because you made it. 70% of you made of water, so you better make sure that you keep rehydrating your cells and keeping yourself hydrated. Sunshine, direct exposure to sunshine. Moderate exercise. You don't have to be in the gym or do jiu-jitsu or do anything crazy. Again, moderate exercise, anything that's going to get elevate your heart level enough so that you can walk to the point where you can at least carry a conversation, but you're not gasping for air. Reach out to people, connect with people, and rather than wait for people to come to you, it's like find ways that you can contribute, find out ways that you can serve others. Find ways that you can call people, and because we all feel good, don't we, when we do something nice for someone else, whether we drop something around to the neighbours or we call people up to check in on. We do. We feel it's an automatic byproduct of feeling good anyway. So look at ways as to how you can serve other people in the community. And again, when your immune system is up, when your vibration's up, you're less susceptible to, because everything's frequency, man. Everything. Disease is frequency. Right, everything's frequency. So again, if your tuning fork is right up there, you're not going to be resonating with all the or certainly way less with that stuff. It's not going to impact on you in the same way. So work on your immune system and as far as the mental health aspect, understand that the help is out there. It's hard, and I think for other people, rather than say to others, hey, listen, I'm here for you. You see a lot of it on Facebook, and it's lovely and it's noble and it's beautiful. But rather than sort of just sit there, and I don't want to say people are virtue signaling when they do that. I'm sure it's all very well intentioned. But rather than just publicly declare how you're available and confuse someone, because all of a sudden now they've got 20 people to choose from, where do they go? They don't want to feel like they're favouring anyone. But a lot of time when people make these offers to people that are feeling down, they're not going to take them up on the offer because they're either feeling so low, there's this lack of self-worth, they don't want to feel like they're imposing on people. So fucking just bypass that. Pick up the phone, ring. Hey, how you doing? You okay? What's going on? Now, if they're okay, they're okay. That's great. If they don't want your help, fine. Respect that too. But at least take the initiative. Don't wait for them, because no one's going to call you, or very few people are going to call you with the, hey, I'm in trouble. Can you help me out? We all seem to be an island unto ourselves. I've been guilty of that in the past myself, so I know how it feels. That's why I'm saying to people, inviting them to, during this time, reach out to people, help people, because that's going to help you in the process as well, and help your mental health. And understand that a lot of your mental health it can be managed very, very well with, again, good diet, exercise, fresh air, connection, being connected to people, contributing positively to the community, to others. And so you have less time to sit and dwell on the story of the past, which is your depression, or the story of the future, which is your anxiety.
Yeah? So basically, pick up the phone, give someone a call, have a chat with them. You don't have to be talking about how crappy this virus is, but more just socially connecting with each other will help both sides of the party, basically, and help you feel.
And do things that you like. Like today I spent a day just playing music. I've been kind of going back over my career and posting a few things of particular tracks that I, are memorable for a particular reason, and post them and feeling really good about life. Just playing music or watching a movie that inspires you, or anything like that. Any of those things is going to help you along your way as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like I was thinking I'm going to start watching a comedy movie every night, just to make myself feel good, because there's something to do with watching comedy movies that it actually helps your, I don't know about frequency, but your mental mindset or mind state.
It lets you. Absolutely. Of course it does. You're feeling good. Laughter is one of the greatest things for building your immunity. It's like steroids for your immunity system. So it is important to laugh and have a laugh at a life, and be able to laugh at yourself too. And not just don't take shit so seriously, man. You're going to die. We're all going to fucking die. So let's get over ourselves. Let's enjoy the experience of what it is. Let's take the full spectrum of it for what it is, and be grateful that we actually won the lottery of 1 in 14 trillion just to fucking be born.
Yeah. Yeah, I never thought about it that way.
Start from there, man. Because that's not woo-woo bullshit. That's science.
Yeah.
So come when you go to gratitude, just thank yourself for the fact that you did win the fucking lottery. The big one.
Yeah, I get that. Look, thank you very much for coming on to the show there, Tony.
A pleasure, man. It's taken a while. We barely scratched the surface. I'm sure we'll have more chats in the future. Can also say congratulations on getting your podcast up. It's been a joy to watch you grow in this very short period of time, and the initiative you've shown, and certainly know that I'll be available to assist any way I can, as a mentor, if you will, through your podcast. You're a beautiful soul, man, and your heart's in the right place, and you work hard, and it's so much easier to work with people that help themselves, which is what you're doing. So kudos to you, mate, and continued success with your podcast.
Thank you very much there, Tony.
Pleasure, mate. Absolute pleasure.
Look, now to everyone watching, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Smash the like button down there on the bottom left-hand side, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of future upcoming episodes. As well as that, be sure to share this episode with everyone else out there, with your friends and family, especially in these down times. But from myself, Neil Coutts, and Tony Mantz, thank you very much, and have a good day.
Big love. Remember, everyone, please be nice to each other, but more importantly, be nice to yourselves. I love you guys. Love you too, Neil. You're awesome.
All the best. See you later.